Stupid here, and today I will be teaching you how to get a better track in Blender. And what I mean by better track is, for camera tracking, how to get it to track better and look a lot better rather than, say, a cube just like moving around the ground if you just want it to sit there. So the first thing to start off is, this is a mistake that I made when I first got into motion tracking. I came up to here and changed it to motion tracking. That's not what you want to do. It basically does the same thing, but what you're going to want to do is come down here and change it to Movie Clip Editor. It might look a little similar, but this will help you in the future. Now I'm basically going to open up a, I'm going to open up a different track. So basically, this is the track that I normally use because it's the best track that I can get. Basically, what you want to do is prefetch it into the memory. This will help it work a little better. Now you can scroll through and see how the camera moves. Now, what you want to do first is come over here and enable search. Now what this does is, when you place a tracker, it will enable this little area here where it searches for whatever it is that you need. That will help it track a little better, and yeah, will pretty much help it track a lot better, and it'll give you a better final result. Now, as you saw, what I did right there is, let's say I have a track and I want to move it around. Sometimes it can be kind of hard to place it in the correct spot, so while you're moving it around, hold down Shift, and then it'll only move a little bit, and it's very easy to get it precisely into the center wherever you want it. Okay, well, that obviously didn't work. What the heck? Where did it go? So, after you have your tracks, I'm just going to place a few. By the way, these are basically just quarters on my driveway. Yeah, pretty simple. Quarters are pretty good to use, as long as you have a light source reflecting the light into your camera, which really helps because it gives it an area of high contrast. Once you have placed some markers, hit A once or twice until you have everything selected, and also make sure you're at the beginning of your animation. Now come over here and hit track, and it will track your markers to the end. So after you've done that, you want to come over here, and basically, if you recorded, say, an iPad Air 2, which is what I recorded with, you're going to change it to the focal length to 31 millimeters. Now, this might vary depending on which camera you used, and if you don't know what your focal length is, whatever you use to record this, say an iPhone, just look it up, iPhone camera details, or iPhone focal length, or something like that. But what else you can do is, above the lens option over here, there's a camera. And basically, it has a bunch of camera presets. If you can find your camera in here, great. What that does is it'll automatically set your focal length and all your width and pixel. Sorry if I said a bad word there. It'll set your pixel aspect and also your width for the sensor. And if you don't know if your camera isn't in here, and you don't know these options, the easiest thing to do is just not to change it. I believe the default is 28, and I will show you what that does in a second. But you want to make sure you're at the beginning, and to help me get a stronger track, I'm going to come down here I'm going to come to track, and hit Detect Features, and this will give me a bunch of markers that it thinks has an area of high contrast. Now make sure they're all selected and track it to the end. Basically, you'll see that some of them, like this one down here, have moved off the screen, and that's not a problem. All you have to do is Shift select them all these ones, and delete them. Now you can see that all the rest of them track through. but I can tell that this is a bad track over here because as I'm moving, it is pushed off the thing, and it just slides up that line, which is really bad. It's going to ruin my tracking, but we'll fix that later. Now I'm going to go to the end. I'm going to detect features and track it to the beginning. Now you can automatically see right off the bat one has already gone missing. Basically, I'm just going to select them as I go. So you've got some bad ones here. Those are the only ones, apparently. So once that's done, you should see that all the rest of them should track pretty well if you scroll through your video. So now you want to go to the beginning, come to solve, and find out where your camera moves a lot. So in my case, mine starts at 140 and ends at 220. So then you're going to insert that here. So keyframe 1, mine would be 140. The end would be 220. Now, after you have that, you want to click Solve Camera Motion, and you'll see an error value. You see mine is at 1.2299. It's pretty good. Basically, if you have a solve error of less than 1, you have a very good track. If you have a solve error of 1 through 3, you have an okay, decent track. If you have 1 over 3, you have a pretty bad track, and you should probably get a new footage or try different tracking options. But you can see my solve error is 1.2299, and that's without the focal length correct. One time I had my solve error over 30, and I changed the lens to 31 millimeters, which is exactly what I need. Click Solve Camera Motion again. You see there, it didn't really change. It actually changed for the worse, but usually that doesn't happen. That's very rare. Usually it would go down. So now I could use it at a solve error of 1.2437 or something like that, but I want it less than 1. So I'm going to come here to cleanup and select the frames you want, and then insert whatever error value you have. So mine is 1.24. You don't need to worry about the really small decimals. That doesn't really matter. But you want to hit Clean Tracks, and you'll see it'll automatically select all the worst tracks that you have. You can automatically delete those and then solve the camera motion again. You can see it's much less now. It's 0.295, and that is really good. So once I've done that, I'm going to, I believe, change this to 3D view. And I know a lot of people, what they want to do is automatically set their origin and their x-axis and their floor and their scale, and then set up tracking scene, but you do not want to do that yet. You actually are going to come to the camera, and you're going to add an object constraint to a camera solver. You'll see automatically you'll get all these little blips, and those are basically your tracking markers. Now if you scroll through the scene, you'll be able to see that your camera moves to the motion that it made in the video. You're going to want to open a new tab from here, change it to the movie clip editor, and if you want to see your video in the background, come to Solve and then hit Set as Background. That will give you a rough idea of where everything is, and what you want to do after that is select something in the middle of, like, say I want a cube here in this square of my driveway. I'm going to select a marker that's around in the middle. I'm going to click Set Origin. After I've done that, I'm going to set the scale here to here. I want to be 1. So actually, I'm going to make that 2.5. That should make it a little easier to work with. Yeah, there we go. So now what I can do is set the floor. So I'm going to select 3 tracks, 1 from each corner except for this one, and this one's going to be in the center of these 2 corners, and hit floor. Now I'm going to reset the origin back to, I believe, where it was, which I'm just going to set for this one. Reset the origin. Actually, I kind of want it here. And after that, I'm going to select this marker. Since I can see that it's already on the x-axis, which is really good, I'm going to set that to the x-axis. That's going to make things really easy. Now, what I'm going to do is I've already set these three and also the scale, so now I want to click Setup Tracking Scene. Now before you do anything, you can close this, but before you do anything, do not delete these two added objects. This is really going to help you get a really cool effect in your scene. Now, what I'm going to do is show you what this plane does. So basically, I'm going to scale it up so it covers my whole scene. Basically, the plane is on the second layer, and the cube is on the first layer. Now, if you shift-click, you'll be able to see both of them, which is really good. Basically, what this has done is it has set up a compositing option for pretty much everything. So it is already set so you can see shadows and everything. My mistake that I always made was I would just delete this plane and the cube. The cube isn't really anything special, but you don't want to delete the plane. Because let's say I bring this cube up onto here, and then if I change my view to top, my lamp, the sun in real life actually is over here. So I'm going to I'm gonna select sun. So basically it's going right through my cube. That's what I want. Now if I look at it rendered, you can see the shadow. Now what I'm going to do is you're going to make sure you shift click both of these and both layers are visible. What the plane will do is collect that shadow and show it on your final render. So basically make sure both of these are selected and hit F12. This will give you a basic idea of what your render will look like, whether you're doing an animation or a video. If I am correct, this should add a cube into my scene and a shadow. If it doesn't, I might have done something wrong. So while that's rendering out, see, it's going to render out the shadow here on it's not going to render the cube, since the cube isn't even on this layer. It's basically going to render the shadow and layer that over top of the scene. What's cool now is that I can work with it while I'm doing something else. So let's say I go to the okay, well apparently I can't move while it's rendering. But if I went to the end of my scene where my camera's moved slightly to the right and make it so I can barely see the right side of the cube, and then I go back to the beginning, I won't be able to see the right side of the cube. I don't know how to explain this. I don't know if this is making any sense, but you'll see that the objects rotates along with the floor. Do you understand what I'm saying? Even a little bit? I don't know. But that's pretty much the basis of cameras tracking. What you can do after that is you can add pretty much any object you want. You can see the shadow. In my opinion, the shadow looks absolutely amazing. It looks like it really would in real life, except the sun is covered by clouds in here, so it's not really that realistic. But in my opinion, I really do like it. I gotta wrap up here. I can only record like 15-minute videos at a time. But anyway, if you really like this video, make sure you leave a like down below in the comments. I mean, wait, what did I even just say? Just leave a like down below, not in the comments. Well, you can in the comments. But if you want to see more videos like this, tell us down in the comments below. And yeah, so that's pretty much the basis of camera tracking. See you in the next video.